Folks, I'm from a ranch project. It's Wednesday, October 11th at 10:15 p.m., 30 minutes before the asteroid passes over us down here in Antarctica. And we just had an earthquake down here, a 5.3 at Vancouver Island right here. Boom. Which may be related to that because they said as this object passes by us here, it is going to affect the tides here and pull on the earth a little. So maybe that's what kicked this off. We'll keep a watch on it. While I'm making this video, the object will be getting closer, so we'll have time to look at that. Another thing we're going to talk about tonight is the volcano in Japan that has gone off. Shinmodake. Now, Shinmodake is in the southern tip of Japan right here, and we'll get to that a little later. So we've got a lot of pretty mild earthquakes. An interesting one over here in Greece coming off at 5.1. And we've had several earthquakes down here just north of Antarctica over the last 24 hours. So we want to keep a heads up on that. Plus to see if any effects from this asteroid kicks off any more earthquakes in this particular area. Let's move along with grand solar minimum news. And we're going to find some bad news, which is basically what grand solar minimum news is. Extreme weather drags the European wine output to its lowest level since the Second World War. If you're a lush, if you're not, if you like wine, if you like wine grapes, because you make fortified wine, this could be a thing of the past. Grapes are going to be very difficult to grow because they're very sensitive to climate shifts. So anything wacky, bye-bye grapes. Grand solar minimum equals wacky, so bye-bye grapes. You're going to get links to all this. These aren't the first grapes lost. If you live off the coast of Bellingham, and you're one of the people that's been asking me about this 5.4 earthquake that happened 2 days ago, it doesn't exist anywhere. If Dutch Sint said it happened, he could be full of shit. I mean, the guy is earthquake insane as far as I'm concerned. All he sees is earthquakes and deception. But there was a 4.5 just within the last 24 hours off of Vancouver here. That's just a heads up. It's not a big quake, but it's a larger quake, a moderate quake. And with the number of quakes we're having here off of the Pacific Rim, especially here near Vancouver and Cascadia, it's a heads up on that. So there was a 4.5. South Africa is underwater. I'll leave you links to that. Here are some pictures from Durban flooding. This is a highway. I don't know how the people got in here, but this is crazy. So this is typical cosmic ray flux increase, increased rainfall, biblical flooding. Flooding like we've never seen before is going to be happening everywhere. And there it is. Extreme weather leads to the British Columbia cranberry shortage. I'll leave you links to the cranberry shortage. It's crazy. This grand solar minimum is going to have the climate swinging high and low and really screw up agricultural production in the next 2 years. And we're going to see it in our pocketbooks this winter. So let's get on to the Geomagnetic volcano. The alert was raised. I'll leave you links to this article. RT has some good coverage. I'll leave you links to the RT coverage. The Japanese Meteorological Agency has raised the alert to 3. 4 and 5 is very dangerous, and 3 is pretty bad. So this baby is erupting quite well, so to speak. We can run some footage of the eruption the other day. It's not that good, but it seems like they had bad cameramen. But I'll let it run through here, and you can just take a look at what's going on. We'll get rid of it. And it's not letting me make it larger. That's terrible. So this is the 2011 eruption, slightly more violent. You can see the ash and cinder is probably 10 times more on this particular eruption with a lot of lava. So I'll leave you links to that. You can watch that and have a ball. Some more stats. Volcanoes kill 540 people a year on average. And going into the grand solar minimum in the next few decades, this number will increase because people just don't know how to listen to warnings. And I assure you that that's going to happen. So I'll leave you links to this article on why people die that are near volcanoes. Typically, it's because they're idiots and they don't leave. There's also been coverage in the last 24 hours of the Cascadia region because, I mean, let's face it, folks. The reason you're watching my channel is fear-induced because you're interested in the facts and there's nowhere to get the facts, so you're coming and looking for the facts. So the mainstream media is capitalizing on that, but this is information you should know. The people that are in Cascadia should know that the largest volcanic eruption in recent geologic history that cooled the planet catastrophically happened 16 million years ago, and it was Cascadia. So you can read about this eruption in several different resources about this Pacific Rim going off 16 million years ago, and the Columbia River basalt flows, and Indonesia, and this entire area was rocked. So what we can assume, without even checking, and we'll probably be able to validate that, is that 16 million years ago there was a massive cosmic ray flux on Earth as a result of the galaxy and our universe, the cosmos, coming in and affecting the weather on the planet. More importantly, affecting volcanic activity on Earth. Cosmic ray flux does affect volcanic activity in a major way, which causes these major volcanic outputs at regular intervals, periodic intervals. Now we'll finish up tonight with some space weather. This coronal hole is now facing and turning away from us, but the coronal hole stream has reached us, and we've been in geomagnetic storm for the greater part of 12 hours. Now, if you look at the activity on the surface of the sun, it's completely dead. It's below B range, mid A range, which almost means the sun is off. It's so shutting off because we're going into this grand minimum. Very low output. But if you come over to the solar wind chart here, you can see that throughout the day, the solar wind had popped up and then popped up again on two different jump ups while the density stayed quite high. Right now, the density is coming down as the solar wind is coming down, so this might be the end of the stream flow, but the result certainly was geomagnetic storm for the greater part of 18 hours up in K5. The magnetogram has been a little screwy here, which is typical of coronal hole streams, and we are currently in an electron flux or a radiation storm where the level is down level 2 or 3, especially when we get down here 10 to the 0. So keep an eye on that, because what happens with all of these geomagnetic storms is they have human effects. So here's the geomagnetic storm risks. Any of these things could be happening currently, and I'll leave you a link to this chart just to keep you safe. One other thing I wanted to cover was this particular volcano. So this particular volcano in Japan has erupted many times in the past. And if you go look at the data over at Volcano Discovery, it gives you a list of all of the historic eruptions on this particular mountain. And this particular mountain, guess what? Has a propensity to erupt during solar minimums. So if you go look at the data, what you're going to find is that this mountain likes to erupt when there's high cosmic ray flux. It erupted in 1711 and 1750 and a number of times back during the Maunder minimum. It also erupted during the Dalton minimum, and it started to re-erupt as we descend into the modern minimum. So there is a definite correlation with all of these volcanoes on the Pacific Rim with regards to cosmic ray flux. It just doesn't have to be the andesitic violent eruptions. It's turning out to be all types of volcanoes associated with that Pacific Rim. So that's just a heads up on the volcanic activity. One quick check back here. There is nothing that's popped off recently as far as Vostok. I haven't heard any rumbles. We're just about 20 minutes out from the passing DC4 across Antarctica and near planet Earth. Maybe we'll see some fireballs. If anything should develop tonight, folks, I'm going to be making a video first thing in the morning. If it hits the ocean and there's a tsunami, I probably won't be doing any videos. Guys, I hope you like the information you got tonight. I hope you got something out of the video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment box. Tell people about our channel. Spread the news. Share this on your social media outlets because you're getting real information from me. I have no bias. I live off-grid in a permaculture farm. I grow cannabis and chickens. We sell organic eggs at the market. We're building greenhouses. Everything is sustainability and to support our future moving forward. So we have a lot going on here. I have no ulterior motives. I want you to trust me on what I'm telling you. It's coming from the heart. I've been a scientist for decades. I taught at university for almost 7 years. And I'm using common sense. I had been awakened long before many of you. So I've been researching these things for decades. I helped the March Against Monsanto get started 7 years ago. And I've just been fighting for the truth movement for a long time. So I hope you enjoy the information you get. Thanks for watching us. And I really appreciate all of you that are supporting us with the good comments and the real conversation. As far as the Nibiru crazy people, tone it down a little bit. There's no evidence that Nibiru even exists. And if we do have evidence, we'll go with it. All right? So be safe, everyone.